कुंज विहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जना। यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जना। यमुनातीरावनचारी। यमुनातीरावनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जना। यमुनातीरावनचारी। यमुनातीरावनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी। जय कृष्ण रुक्मिणी जय सत्यभामा। कृष्ण रुक्मिणी जय सत्यभामा। जय कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम। कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम। जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय। गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय। जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 प्रभुपाद। जय Srimad Paramahansa Parivrajakatarishtottara Satarshri Srimad His Divine Grace H.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Srimad Paramahansa Parivrajakatarishtottara Satarshri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद्भागवतम की जय। श्री श्री कृष्ण रुक्मिणी सत्यभामा की जय। श्री श्री कृष्ण बलराम की जय। श्री श्री गौर निताय की जय। जगतगुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Reading from Srimad-Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 25, The Glories of Devotional Service, Text number 11. Tam tva gata aham sharanam sharanyam. Tam tva gata aham sharanam sharanyam. Tam tva gataham sharanam sharanyam. Swa bhritya samsara taroho kutharam. Swabhritya samsara taroho kutharam. Swabhritya samsara taroho kutharam. Jijnasaya aham prakritehe purushasya. Jijnasaya aham prakritehe purushasya. Jijnasaya aham prakritehe purushasya. Namami sad dharma vidam Varishtham. Namami saddharma vidam varishtham. Namami saddharma vidam varishtham. Tam tvagataham sharanam charanyam. Swabhritya samsara taroh kutharam. Jijnasayaham prakritehe purushasya. Namami saddharma vidam varishtham. Tam tvagataham charanam charanyam. Swabhritya samsara taroh kutharam. Jijnasayaham prakritehe purushasya. Namami saddharma vidam varishtham. Tam, that person, tva, unto you, gata, have gone, aham, I, sharanam, shelter, sharanyam, worth taking shelter of, swabhritya, for your dependence. Samsara of material existence. Taroho of the tree. Kutharam, the axe. Jijnasaya, with the desire to know. Aham, I. Prakritehe, of matter. Woman. Purushasya, of spirit. Man. Namami, I offer obeisances. Sat Dharma, of the eternal occupation. Vidam, of the knowers. Varishtham, unto the greatest. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Devahuti continued, I have taken shelter of your lotus feet because you are the only person of whom to take shelter. You are the axe which can cut the tree of material existence. I therefore offer my obeisances unto you, who are the greatest of all transcendentalists, and I inquire from you as to the relationship between man and woman and between spirit and matter. Kindly repeat. Devahuti continued, I have taken shelter of your lotus feet because you are the only person of whom to take shelter. You are the axe which can cut the tree of material existence. I therefore offer my obeisances unto you, who are the greatest of all transcendentalists, and I inquire from you as to the relationship between man and woman and between spirit and matter. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Sankhya philosophy, as is well known, deals with Prakriti and Purusha. Purusha is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or anyone who imitates the Supreme Personality of Godhead as an enjoyer. And Prakriti means nature. In this material world, material nature is being exploited by the Purushas, or the living entities. The intricacies in the material world of the relationship of the Prakriti and Purusha, or the enjoyed and the enjoyer, is called samsara, or material entanglement. Devahuti wanted to cut the tree of material entanglement, and she found the suitable weapon in Kapila Muni. The tree of material existence is explained in the 15th chapter of Bhagavad-gita as an Ashwatha tree whose root is upwards and whose branches are downwards. It is recommended there that one has to cut the root of this material existential tree with the axe of detachment. What is the attachment? The attachment involves Prakriti and Purusha. The living entities are trying to lord it over material nature. Since the conditioned soul takes material nature to be the object of his enjoyment and it takes the position of the enjoyer, he is therefore called Purusha. Devahuti questioned Kapila Muni, for she knew that only he could cut her attachment to this material world. The living entities, in the guises of men and women, are trying to enjoy the material energy. Therefore, in one sense, everyone is Purusha, because Purusha means enjoyer and Prakriti means enjoyed. In this material world, both the so-called man and so-called woman are imitating the real Purusha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is actually the enjoyer in the transcendental sense, whereas all others are Prakriti. The living entities are considered Prakriti. In Bhagavad-gita, matter is analyzed as apara, or inferior nature, whereas beyond this inferior nature, there is another superior nature, the living entities. Living entities are also Prakriti, or enjoyed, but under the spell of Maya, the living entities are falsely trying to take the position of enjoyers. That is the cause of samsara bandha, or conditional life. Devahuti wanted to get out of conditional life and place herself in full surrender. The Lord is Sharanya, which means the only worthy personality to whom one can fully surrender, because he is full of all opulences. If anyone actually wants relief, the best course is to surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord is also described here as Saddharma Vidam Varishtham. This indicates that of all transcendental occupations, the best occupation is eternal loving service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Dharma is sometimes translated as religion, but that is not exactly the meaning. Dharma actually means that which one cannot give up, that which is inseparable from oneself. The warmth of fire is inseparable from fire. Therefore, warmth is called the dharma or nature of fire. Similarly, Saddharma means eternal occupation. The eternal occupation is engagement in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. The purpose of Kapaladeva's Sankhya philosophy is to propagate pure, uncontaminated devotional service, and therefore he is addressed here as the most important personality amongst those who know the transcendental occupation of the living entity. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langhayate girim yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurum Deenataranam. In 1944, one man in India by name Vijaypat Singhania, he along with his father started a small cloth mill, and over a period of time, over the years, Vijaypat Singhania slowly built it into a very big garment manufacturing company. The name of the company is Raymond. All of you would have heard of it. He began in a very small way as a small cloth mill and built it into the world's largest suit manufacturer. And by 2016, that company had grown into a 2,000 crore company. And because he had also become one of the richest men in India, and he built this business from scratch, rags to riches story kind of thing. Many accomplishments. He was even awarded the Padma Bhushan by the government of India. When he became about 80 years of age, he thought, now time to retire. He handed over the company to his son, Gautam Singhania. Handed over the company means whatever shares he was holding. He was the owner of the company by way of holding shares in the company. He handed over all the shares to his son. And he became chairman emeritus. The son became the chairman and managing director. He became chairman emeritus. Means he's a very senior person. He is the one who started the company and built it up and all that. So such eminent people, when they retire from the company, they give them some sort of position, not an executive function. It doesn't have any authority or approval or anything, or any say in the running of the company. But still, to recognize his position, what he has contributed for the company, they create something known as chairman emeritus. Something like saying a retired chairman. There was an office for him. There was a car. a chauffeur for the car. And also, when he was handing over the company to the son, it was agreed that there was a flat belonging to the company that would be transferred to Vijaypad Singhania, and he could live there. And that was a very expensive flat, but because he was the one who built the company and all those things at a very nominal price, it was agreed to hand over to him. The son took over the company, and few years later, about 3 years, 4 years, 5 years later, the father, Vijaypad Singhania, he went and filed a case in the court, saying that I want my company back. I did the biggest mistake of my life in handing over the company to my son. Why? What happened? His son only, no. After all, his son only has to take over the company. So what did he do wrong? And after handing over in a few years, 3 to 4 years time, why is he going to the court saying that give my company back? Because the moment the father took over the son took over the company from the father, the son said, we cannot give you the flat. And then his office that was there in the company, he emptied it out, vacated it and said, no more office for you. He took back the car and driver. And the father is left in the street. And he is not taking care of him, not maintaining him, the father had some savings with that somehow. He is managing his livelihood. You can imagine, 80-year-old man built up a company from scratch to a 2,000 crore company, one of the richest men in the country. He is now on the street. And so naturally, he went to court. Why? Because it is the natural right of the son to enjoy the property of the father. Nobody will object to son taking over from the father, provided after taking over the wealth of the father, the son has to take care of the father. Not that he neglects him and throws him into the street. That will not be acceptable in this world. Actually, if you look at the entire world where all of us, we living entities are living in this world, Krishna says in the Bhagavad-gita, Bhoktaram yajna tapasam sarva loka maheshwaram. He, Krishna, is the creator of the whole universe. All the planets and all the manifestations that we see in the planets are coming from him. He has created the whole universe and he has put us here. He has given us a place of habitation. And what do? We enjoy all the facilities in this universe, on this earthly planet. The facilities of the sunlight, rain, food grains, all kinds of facilities that are made available to us, water, air, sunlight, moonlight, everything is made available to us free of cost. Actually, this is the property of Krishna, who is our Supreme Father. And we are all the children of Krishna. We have a right to enjoy this material world. But at the same time, we have to recognize that this material world that we are enjoying, this facility for enjoyment is given to us by our Supreme Father Krishna, and we have to express our gratitude to him by way of conducting sacrifices, yajna. Current day world, what happens? All the human beings, they are enjoying all the facilities of their father, but they are failing to recognize the Father Krishna. They are saying, no, God doesn't exist. All these facilities are coming from nature. So therefore, there is no person to whom we are responsible, and we can enjoy the way we like. And with this mentality, the humankind has started exploiting material nature. And what has it resulted in? It has resulted in climate change and all these kind of issues which the world is grappling with. Humankind is now saying that we cannot exploit material nature unrestrictedly. We have to have some restrictions and we can enjoy, but we have to work out in such a way that the environment doesn't get polluted and we can continue our work of enjoying, exploiting material nature in a nice way. Again, there is no recognition of Krishna, who is the provider of this. of the material nature is not independent. Maya Dakshena Prakriti Suyate Sacharacharam. Krishna is saying in the Bhagavad-gita that material nature is working under his direction. Material nature is Krishna's energy. We are failing to recognize this actual position of Krishna. And until and unless we recognize and offer sacrifices to Krishna for the wonderful arrangements that he has made for us, whatever arrangements we make in the material world, independent of Krishna, trying to enjoy this material world, it will always result in pollution, greenhouse effect, climate change, and all kinds of issues. You will not be able to enjoy like that. This enjoying mentality itself is actually a disease. Krishna says in the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad-gita, he says that Urdhvamulam adashakam ashwattam prahur avyayam chandamsi yasya patrani yam veda sa vedavet. So Krishna is saying that this material world, this material creation is like an inverted tree with its root upward and the branches growing downward. Normally in the material world we see that the root is down and the branches are upward. But the universe is like an Ashwatha tree, banyan tree, which has its root upward and the branches downward. Why is this example given of an inverted tree by Krishna? There are multiple explanations for this. One of the explanations is that the beginning of this whole material manifestation, this universe, begins from Brahma's planet, which is the topmost planet. And from there, the other planetary systems, Swargaloka, Martyaloka, and the lower planetary systems, all these things are created. Therefore, this material universe, the root is in Brahma's planet, which is the topmost planet of the universe. And from there, the material universe grows into the different planetary systems. And therefore, the tree of the material universe has its root upward and the branches downward. And this, another reason why this material universe is compared to a tree is because a tree, every tree is called a vriksha in Sanskrit, meaning that object which will eventually be cut down. Therefore, this material universe is also not a permanent place of residence for all of us, for all the living entities. Eventually, all the living entities are meant to cut off their connection to the material universe. And therefore, Krishna in the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad-gita, he says about this material universe that asanga shastrena dridena chitva. Asanga shastrena dridena chitva. One must cut off this tree of material existence with asanga shastrena, with the weapon of asanga or detachment. Detachment is the weapon with which to cut our connection to this material world, which is the cause of repeated birth and death. And Krishna says, Tatap padam tat parimargitavyam. And having cut the tree of material existence with the sword or with the weapon of detachment, what one should do? Tatap padam tat parimargitavyam. One must search for that destination, tat padam. That destination, parimargitavyam, one must search out. What destination one must search out? Yasmin gatana nivartanti bhuyaha. That destination, once which we achieve, there is no more coming back to this material world. Therefore, the purpose of the creation of this material world is ultimately for every conditioned living entity to develop detachment, free himself from this cycle of repeated birth and death within this material world, and achieve the spiritual world, Goloka Vrindavan, at the lotus feet of Krishna, after which we don't have to take any more repeated birth and death within this material world. Therefore, detachment is the key for our freedom. Now, how to develop this detachment? Detachment is the most difficult thing to develop. How to detach ourselves from this material world? To teach us detachment from the material world, the Supreme Lord Krishna himself descends to this material world. And Krishna descends into this material world as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to teach us the process of detachment. Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yoga Shikshartham Eka Purusha Puranaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Shriradhari Kripambadir Yastamaham Prapadye. This is a verse which was composed by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said, Kripambudir, that ocean of mercy, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Shriradhari, that ocean of mercy who is Krishna, who has assumed the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Tamaham Prapadye, I surrendered to him. Why did that Supreme Lord Krishna take the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and descend to this material world? Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yoga Shikshartham Eka Purusha Puranaha, that original Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the sole Supreme Personality of Godhead. There is no competitor for him. There is nobody equal to him. There is nobody above him. That very same oldest primeval Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has no equal, that Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, has taken the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not an incarnation. He is the self-same Supreme Personality of Godhead, the primeval Lord, who is the source of all incarnations. And that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has descended for what? Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yoga Shikshartham. He has descended Shikshartham to teach us, to teach all the conditioned souls two things. What is that? Vairagya Vidya, to teach us the knowledge of Vairagya, detachment, and Nija Bhakti Yoga, how to render devotional service to Krishna. These two things, Bhakti Yoga, devotional service to Krishna, and Vairagya, or detachment from this material world, go hand in hand. They are two parallel things. One practices Bhakti Yoga, it will develop Vairagya in the heart automatically. And we practice Vairagya, it has to lead us to Bhakti Yoga. We have to, in the process of practicing Bhakti Yoga, we have to simultaneously practice Vairagya. There is no question of practicing Bhakti Yoga without any Vairagya, without any detachment. So the detachment begins with the four regulative principles. No meat eating, no illicit sex, no gambling, and no intoxication. We follow these four regulative principles, means we are developing Vairagya. We follow the path of Vairagya. Simultaneously, we chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Therefore, we are practicing Bhakti Yoga as well as Vairagya Vidya. Like this, many things. Fasting on Ekadashi, fasting on various festivals like Janmashtami, all these activities, these and following the different regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga, worshipping the deity in the temple, honoring only Krishna Prasadam, all these activities actually constitute Vairagya Vidya and simultaneous following the path of Bhakti Yoga. Without following Bhakti Yoga, there is no question of developing Vairagya or detachment. And therefore, she is saying, as Devahuti is saying in today's words, Devahuti is requesting her son, Kapila Deva, who is an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Samsara Taroho Kutharam. Please, she is referring to Kapila Deva as the axe which can cut the tree of material existence. That means that what is the axe to cut the tree of material existence? It is the axe of detachment. And she is referring to Kapila Deva as that axe. Meaning, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the source of detachment from this material world. And unless one renders devotional service to him, that vairagya cannot firmly get established in the heart. In the 11th canto of the Srimad-Bhagavatam also, the same thing is stated. Bhakti pareshanubhavo viraktir anyatra chaisha trisha ekakalaha. The Bhagavatam says, Bhakti, when you practice Bhakti Yoga, under the direction of a bona fide spiritual master, if you are following all the principles of Bhakti Yoga properly, Bhakti pareshanubhavo, it will lead you to a direct experience of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, and viraktir anyatra, it will lead you to detachment from everything material. Anything, viraktir anyatra, anything which is not connected with pareshanubhava, anything which is not connected with Krishna, we will develop detachment. Trisha chaisha ekakalaha, at the same, simultaneously, three things will happen in our heart. Tushtihi pushtihi, tushtihi pushtihi kshudapayaha. Three things will happen. Tushti, we will feel satisfaction in the heart. Pushti, our bhakti will get nourished. And kshudapayaha, we will feel satisfaction. We will feel freedom from the hunger. So just like for a person who is eating, a hungry person is eating food. When a hungry person eats food, what will happen? Three things happen simultaneously. He is getting satisfied, he is getting nourished, and his pangs of hunger are getting quelled. All the three things have to happen simultaneously. Similarly, when we engage in devotional service to Krishna, three things will happen simultaneously. Our heart will get satisfied. We will feel extreme satisfaction. Meaning, our quest for spiritual advancement will be fulfilled. We don't have to search any further. We don't have to go any further. We don't have to search anything more. That where will I get? What process do I have to follow for achieving perfection in life? Because Bhakti Yoga is the culmination, is the last step on the process of spiritual advancement. One begins with the process of Karma Yoga. Slowly one advances, one comes to Jnana Yoga. One advances, one comes to Ashtanga Yoga. Once you come to Bhakti Yoga, that's the final stage. Therefore, you get completely satisfied at that stage. Tushtihi pushtihi. And as you go on practicing Bhakti Yoga and you feel the Vairagya, what will happen? The process of Bhakti Yoga is such that the process of Bhakti Yoga itself will nourish your bhakti, your devotion to Krishna. Bhakti pareshanubhavaha. That the pushti, the nourishment of your devotion to Krishna will also happen simultaneously. And kshud apayaha, your hunger will vanish. Your desire to enjoy in the material world has to vanish. Your seeking after enjoyment, after different kinds of enjoyment, your seeking to lord it over material nature has to vanish. It has to get replaced with, as Devahuti is saying here, Swabhritya samsara taroho kutharam. She is saying, you are my shelter. That means Devahuti no longer wants to become a controller or enjoyer. She wants to become the servant. Bhritya means dependent or servant. Both meanings are there for the word Bhritya. Swabhritya, she is saying, I want to become your servant. As Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also taught in his Sikshashtaka, Ai nanda tanuja kinkaram patitam maam vishame bhavam budau. Kripaya tava pada pankaja sthita dhuli sadrisham michintaya. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is praying to Krishna, Dhuli sadrisham michintaya. Oh Krishna, please place me as a speck of dust at your lotus feet. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not claiming himself to be a very great devotee or a great jnani, yogi, some great personality. No, He is saying, Kinkaram, I am your servant. I am your menial servant. When we develop devotion to Krishna and we develop Vairagya, that Vairagya will result in us giving up the conception that I am the Lord, I am the controller. That means as we perform devotional service, more and more we should experience the feeling in our heart that I am the servant of Krishna. This is the real test of advancement in devotional life and spiritual life. No other process, whether it is Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga, no other process can bring this transformation in your heart where you feel, I am the servant of the Supreme Lord. All other processes will only feed your false ego. Karma Yogi, he feels that I am a Brahmana or I am a Kshatriya or I am a Vaishya or I am a Shudra or I am a Brahmachari, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyasi. He has to identify himself as one of these. There is no question of identifying yourself as a servant of Krishna. You are one of these, and according one of the varnas and ashramas, you are positioned there, and according to that you perform your functions. Karma Yoga. When you come to Jnana Yoga, what do you think? You think, I am Brahman. I am the Supreme Brahman. And after liberation, after Mukti, I will become that Brahman. Very high false ego. Ashtanga Yogi, what does he think? Ashtanga Yogi also thinks, by practicing Ashtanga Yoga, I will become a powerful Siddhi Yogi. So he also has that conception that I have earned for myself. By my tapasya, I have become a Siddha. I have developed all the Yoga Siddhis. I possess the Yoga Siddhis. But only in Bhakti Yoga, when you perform Bhakti Yoga, what happens? You develop the feeling, I am the servant of Krishna. The more you advance in Krishna consciousness, the more advanced a devotee you are, the more you feel that you are lower than the lowest. As Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami said, that Purishe Rakita Hoite, I am lower than the worm in the stool. This is his mood, his feeling. This kind of dainya, this feeling of humility, you will not find in any other process other than Bhakti Yoga. And especially in the Gaudiya Vaishnava followers and the followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, whether you take Rupa Goswami, whether you take Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, you take Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, you take any of these acharyas who are in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, you will see the peak of that dainya, feelings of dainya. You will not find in any other process. In fact, that the feelings of dainya, humility, are expressed by Sudama. Sudama was a class friend of Krishna. When Krishna was studying in the Sandipani Muni's ashram in Ujjain, Sudama also happened to be his classmate. And they were very thick friends. Once Sandipani Muni told Krishna that you go and pick some firewood from the forest and come. Because firewood is required for cooking, firewood is required for conducting yajna, for various purposes. Krishna took Sudama with him to pick up the firewood. And it so happened that day, there was torrential downpour, like we are experiencing outside today in Chennai. Torrential downpour. And because of the heavy rain, the clouds were also completely covered. They covered the sun and hardly any light was there. And in the dense forest, Krishna and Sudama could not find their way back. And they got stuck in the forest. Next day morning, Sandipani Muni came and he searched for both of them. He found them and took them back. Sudama, that way, had a very close association with Krishna. And then later, Krishna and Balaram went to Mathura, and from there they went to Dwaraka. And Sudama went back to his village, which is where currently Porbandar is situated. Even today, if you go to Porbandar, you have a temple of Sudama, and that is the place where Sudama lived. Sudama was a poor Brahmana. He was not rich like Krishna. Krishna was a prince, born in a royal family, and Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. He built Dwaraka, 16,000 palaces, 16,000 queens, great opulence. Sudama, the diametric opposite. Great penury, total abject poverty, not even proper food to eat, no proper clothes to wear also, but a great devotee of Krishna. Now, his wife, Sudama's wife, was thinking, I'm not able to serve my husband nicely. I'm not able to cook proper food and feed him. It is my duty as a wife to do that. I'm not able to do that. Somehow we have to change the situation. She went and asked Sudama, her husband, why don't you approach Lord Krishna? After all, he is your classmate. And if you feel appropriate, if you approach him, he will help us out of this situation. Sudama did not want to go and ask Krishna anything. But the moment she made this proposal, Sudama remembered, oh, Krishna, he is in Dwaraka. But a great opportunity for me to go and meet him. And therefore, Sudama told his wife, okay, I will go. Sudama had no intention of asking anything. He was only thinking, good opportunity to meet Krishna. He said, but it doesn't look nice to go empty-handed. Is there anything which I can take with me? Nothing in the house. Sudama's wife immediately went to the neighbors. 4 or 5 people she asked. She begged, please give me something. My husband is going to meet Krishna. The neighbors gave little chipped rice. She brought the chipped rice, packed it in some old cloth, and gave it to her husband. I got some chipped rice for you, for Krishna. Sudama took that and set off. And he is in great ecstasy. He is thinking all along, oh, I'm going to meet Krishna, the Supreme Lord, my Lord. I'm going to meet him, like that, in great ecstasy. He didn't think, I am a poor man, he is a rich king, how will I go and meet him? Nothing. He was totally in ecstasy. And he reached Dwaraka, and he went straight to the palace of Rukmini. And immediately, the Dwarapalakas also, they had been instructed by Krishna, any Brahmana comes, no restriction, they should be allowed inside. And Sudama walked straight in, and Krishna, when he saw, oh, Sudama has come, Krishna was seated. He got up from the seat and went and embraced Sudama. Everybody was shocked because they had seen Krishna embracing only Balaram in Dwaraka. In Vrindavan it is different. Everybody is embracing Krishna. Whenever they want, they can go and embrace Krishna. It's a different mood. In Dwaraka, Krishna is like a prince, very regal, sober, very grave. They have only seen him embrace Balaram. Now, this poor Brahmana, he is so unkempt, his clothes are all tattered, and Krishna is going and embracing him. Everyone is shocked. And then Krishna escorted him, made him sit on his own seat, and started washing his feet, and with great happiness, Krishna started talking to him. And then, after speaking a little while, Krishna remembered what all had happened in Sandipani Muni's ashram, how they had got caught up in the rain and all those kind of things. Then Krishna told Sudama, Sudama, you must not have come empty-handed. Something you must have brought from me, no? What have you brought? Sudama was thinking, after seeing the palace, Dwaraka, how will I give this chipped rice? Is this something to give to Krishna? He slowly kept it aside and he was like, no, nothing. Krishna said, hey, you are hiding something. He snatched the cloth, that bag from Sudama, and he said, let me see what is in it. He opened it. Oh, chipped rice. Krishna took it and put it into his mouth. And Sudama was stunned. He could not say anything. And Krishna was relishing that the chipped rice. And then Krishna took one more handful. Rukmini Devi caught his hand. Oh my Lord, enough. Whatever you have eaten is enough for me to become indebted to Sudama for millions of lifetimes. Now if you eat more, then I will never be able to repay the debt of Sudama. So please, I request you, enough, please don't eat anymore. And then Krishna personally, he took care of Sudama, and Sudama, they spent the rest of the day. Very nice association they both of them had, remembering all their past activities and all that, childhood and all that. And then, after a little while, Sudama decided to go back. and he took leave from Krishna. Krishna also embraced him. Both of them tears were flowing from their eyes. And then Sudama left Dwaraka and started walking back. Sudama did not ask anything. Krishna also did not offer anything. Sudama was thinking, you see, Krishna is so merciful. He did not offer me anything. Although he is the king, he could have given me anything. But he did not offer me even one coin. Nothing he offered me. So merciful of Krishna. Can you imagine that? Suppose some poor man is there. He goes to his friend's house. Friend is very rich. He meets him. Friend meets him nicely. He gives him some good food to eat and then sends him away. What will the friend think? Useless fellow. What kind of friend, yeah? Nothing. One word also he did not ask. How are you? Is there any help I can do? Even he did not help. At least he should have asked. Can I help you? That also he did not do. Ungrateful fellow. Even Allah, our friend, that is what we will think. But Sudama, what is he thinking? Krishna is so merciful. He did not offer me anything. Why? Because Krishna knew that if he gives me some wealth, I'll become materially attached. Krishna does not want me to become materially attached. This is his great mercy. And then, one more thing. Sudama remembered how Krishna embraced him. So, Sudama remembered, Kvaham daridraha papiyan. Who am I? I am a daridra. Daridra means somebody who is poverty-stricken, who has no possession, who is completely poverty-stricken. So I am a daridra and papiyan. I am a most sinful person. Kva Krishna Sri Niketanaha. And who is Krishna? He is the abode of Lakshmi. Lakshmi always resides on his heart, on his chest. That is Krishna, the Supreme Lord. And what am I? I am a most sinful wretch. I am a daridra. I am a most poverty-stricken, wretched fellow. But still, when I met Krishna, what happened? Bahubhyam parirambhitaha. Krishna embraced me with his own arms. Why should Krishna do this? Then Sudama thought, I am most sinful. I am a wretched person. I have no stature in society. And Krishna is the abode of Lakshmi Devi. Why did he embrace me? Brahma bandhuhu iti smaham. Because I am born in the family of a Brahmana. I am not a Brahmana. I have no Brahmana qualities. I am a Brahma bandhu. Krishna thought, I am a Brahma bandhu and therefore he embraced me. Such is the mercy of Krishna. Look at the dainya of Sudama. His humility. He is actually a very highly qualified Brahmana. He is more than a Brahmana. He is a great Vaishnava. So much so that he got the Supreme Lord Krishna as his friend, his classmate. And he is thinking, I am so wretched, I am so fallen, I am simply a Brahma Bandhu. For namesake, I am a Brahmana. And even though I am a namesake Brahmana, Krishna has embraced me. This is the dainya or the humility of a devotee. And of course, then Sudama went back, and when he reached Porbandar, his place, suddenly he came to his house. He saw, where is my house? My hut is not seen. Some big palace has come up here. Maybe some real estate agent took away my land and built something. Of course, those days there were no real estate. Whereas today you would have thought like that. Some real estate fellow must have encroached my land and built some property. He was thinking, what is this? Where is my hut? Did I come to the wrong avenue? Somewhere I missed my this one way back home. And then suddenly one beautiful woman is coming, dressed in all silk cloths and full gold jewelry, surrounded by hundreds of maid servants. He thought some great lady is coming, some royal personality is coming, and he was respectfully looking at her. She came to him and fell down at his feet. He's thinking, why is she falling at my feet? And then she gets up, oh my Lord, I am your wife. He said, my wife, He could not even recognize her. Then he realized, oh my God, this is all Krishna's doing. This could not have happened like this. And so then the Sudama's love for Krishna only increased, and rest of his life, he lived in great opulence, but he was always detached from the opulence. He never got attached to his material opulence. So this humility stems from vairagya, from detachment, which arises out of devotional service to Krishna. And when we develop that kind of detachment, vairagya, we have all the right to enjoy the property of Krishna. Just like Sudama, after he came back, he came back to a palace filled with all kinds of opulences. And he did not have to do any work to maintain that palace and all the riches that he had. He did not have to work hard to earn all of it. All of it was bestowed upon him. Why? Because it is the property of Krishna. All the opulence, Lakshmi Devi is his maid servant. So therefore, all opulences belong to Krishna. And Krishna is always ready to give all his opulences to his devotees for them to enjoy, provided we recognize our Supreme Father Krishna and we develop our devotion and vairagya for him, then we have every right to enjoy the property of Krishna unrestrictedly. So we should not be ungrateful children of the Supreme Father, where we enjoy the property, material nature, without recognizing the Supreme Lord Krishna, who has bestowed all these facilities upon us. And therefore, she is saying, Devahuti is saying, Jijnasayaham prakrutehe purushasya. I want to understand the relation between me and the Supreme Lord. I am Prakriti and Krishna is Purusha. I want to understand my relation with him, and I want to develop taroho kutaram, samsara taroho kutaram. I want to develop vairagya by which I can cut off my attachment to this material world. And for this, tam tva gataham saranam. And to achieve this, the only way is I have to take shelter of you, the Supreme Lord, who is Sharanyam, who is the only person worthy of taking shelter. And by this, one can progress on the path of spiritual life, and one will not be bereft of any material happiness, and at the same time, we will be able to progress on the path back to Godhead. And by going back to Godhead, there is no more repeated birth and death within this material world. So these are some of the things which we can understand from today's verse. If there are any questions or comments, we can discuss. Grantharaj Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.